Good evening. We begin with a health alert tonight. The flu has shut down a school near the Oregon coast.
43% of the students there have gotten sick. This is a map of the town of Napa. According to the Daily Astorian, Hilda Lottie Elementary School has canceled class for tomorrow and Wednesday. Clatsop County health officials say there are no reports of other schools in the area with abnormally high rates of flu, but as we've reported, this flu season has been especially active all across the country. We're following breaking news in southeast Portland. Investigators are on the scene where this house caught fire at Holgate and 100th Street.
One of our producers who lives in the area shot this video of flames coming out of the front of the house. Firefighters do have it under control now. No word yet what started it.
Now to a developing story, the search for the driver in a deadly hit and run. It happened near the intersection of Northeast Burnside and Division in Gresham.
The crash took the life of a man who was adored by his neighbors. KGW's Mike Benner joins us live outside the Gresham Police Department with more on the victim.
And Laurel, officers identified the victim as Dennis Yamnitsky. He was 60 years old and lived not too far from here, the Gresham Station apartment. You'll hear from neighbors in a moment. First, though, some details about this deadly hit-and-run crash. It happened just before 6:45 last night. Detectives say Yamnitsky was crossing Burnside near Division when he was hit by the car. He was not in a marked crosswalk. We're told initially Yamnitsky's injuries to his head and leg did not appear to be life-threatening. In fact, he was talking with officers and paramedics, but he later died at the hospital. News of Yamnitsky's death spread quickly at the Gresham Station apartments, where neighbors remembered him as a kind and gentle soul.
Dennis was just a very, very nice man. He held the elevators for you, even though he's holding onto his bicycle back here, and he opened doors. He was just really there for the ladies here.
I think that was probably the most devastating part, was how it happened. You know, that somebody would mow him down in the middle of the road and then just leave him to die. I think that's deplorable. I don't know what kind of person can do that and live with themselves.
Now, at this point, there's very limited information on the suspect vehicle. Authorities believe it's a champagne or gold-colored sedan. As always, anyone with information on the case should contact the Gresham Police Department. Back to you.
Mike, thank you. We have new information tonight about a story we've been covering since last week. Our news partners at the Oregonian have named the suspect in the grisly murder of a Washington County woman. According to the report, the suspect is 35-year-old Jeremiah Johnston. He has numerous drug convictions dating back several years. At this point, it's unclear how he's connected to the victim in this case, Sarah Zagul. According to the Oregonian, police found her body decapitated and dismembered and stuffed in 2 suitcases inside a car last week. Officers tracked down Johnston in Beaverton. The Oregonian reports he tried to kill himself just before his arrest. He is still in the hospital, and because he has not been booked, Johnston has not yet been charged with a crime. We will update you if and when that happens.
Firefighters saved a man today who was hurt in a deep construction ditch. He was 27 feet underground in a trench in Clark County for about an hour. Crews were working on a sewer project at a housing development there. Clark County Fire and Rescue got him out safely this afternoon thanks to their regional special rescue team, which specializes in trench rescues. He was taken to the hospital with moderate injuries. Check this out. Mountain Wave Search and Rescue released some photos of the part of Mount Hood hit by an avalanche last week, and you can see the snow reaches to the top of some trees. A ski patroller was caught up in that avalanche in the God's Wall area while checking to see if the snow was stable enough for it to open to the public. Luckily, he had an avalanche airbag and survived with only minor injuries.
New tonight, should Jefferson High School get a new name?
It is a growing discussion in North Portland's Humboldt neighborhood. KGW's Catherine Cook was at a neighborhood meeting tonight where people on both sides weighed in.
Laurel, some say they no longer want the school named for a man who owned slaves, former president or not. Others say the school's name has less to do with the man and much more now to do with the neighborhood's identity, something they don't want anyone to take from them.
Now, about changing the name, what difference does that make?
Two opinions.
Change begins with the people who care.
No, you can't dismiss history.
One question. Should Jefferson High School get a new name?
And I think once they understand who Thomas Jefferson is and how he treated people of color, it would be a no-brainer for people, but maybe people don't have brains. I don't know.
Clifford Walker is a longtime resident of North Portland's Humboldt neighborhood and graduated from Jefferson High School. Back then, he didn't dwell on his school's namesake. He does now.
Can you imagine a public high school named after a Virginia slave trader and avowed racist?
Walker took his concerns to his fellow Humboldt Neighborhood Association board members. And on this night, neighbors had their first discussion on the matter, including Jefferson student Sarah Steele.
I feel like it has a lot of Black pride and Black history associated with it as Jefferson High School, but the person itself is disgusting and horrible, and if it were changed, it could be very progressive, as in it could be a Black woman.
Jefferson grad Blenda Riles says she'd rather the neighborhood focus on improving the inside of the school, not what else they could call it. She says it's part of a pattern she's seeing.
When the demographics change in a neighborhood, then all of a sudden, well, we have to come in. We're going to change everything. We're going to dismiss what was here before, and we're going to make it ours now.
The thought of renaming Jefferson High School is part of a much bigger discussion.
People are willing to talk about this, to learn, and to figure it out.
Those who would be in favor.
And many here believe that is a victory in itself. And the next time neighbors will get together to talk about this is February 14th at a community meeting. This time it will be held at PCC right across the street at 7 o'clock. The public is welcome. Back to you.
Thank you, Catherine. And we want to know what you think about renaming Jefferson High School. Follow KGW on Facebook and Twitter to join the conversation.
For at least one business owner, it was his life's work, 34 years, and it all went up in flames last night. The McAdam Center business complex in Southwest Portland burned for hours after flames broke out around 7 o'clock last night. Everyone got out safely, but by the time firefighters arrived, the fire was too big to fight from the inside. According to officials, the building was up to code, but did not have a fire sprinkler system. Some of the businesses had been in that building since it opened in the mid-1980s. They're now looking for temporary locations. It's not just affecting the nearby dozen businesses there, but their loyal customers and neighbors too.
It's going to be really hard to see some of those businesses gone, and just feel bad for all the business owners showing up today and not really knowing what to do.
Portland Fire and Rescue is asking for some help in the investigation. If you were in that area and have video of the fire before crews arrived, you're asked to call 823-INFO.
Are in Vancouver, which will never be the location of an oil terminal. It is down, kaput, finished.
It is official in Vancouver tonight. Washington's governor has dealt a final blow to the plan for an oil terminal at the port. Governor Jay Inslee rejected the permit for the project today. Tesoro and Savage proposed an oil-by-rail terminal along the Columbia River, bringing 360,000 barrels of crude through every day. Activists fought the plan every step of the way. Project developers now have 30 days to appeal the governor's decision.
It could take weeks to clean up an oil spill in Astoria. The source, a tank that no one knew was sitting underneath an old pier. It's right near the Cannery Pier Hotel and Spa. The tank is from the days when the pier was home to a seafood cannery back in the 1900s. To get it out, crews will have to deconstruct the pier. Someone first saw the spill a little over a week ago, and initially it spread about 5 miles. Over the weekend, more oil was released, but crews say they now have control of it and a boom is in place to keep it from spreading. Workers have collected 1,500 gallons of oily water.
It's kind of worrisome for some of the seafood out here, for some of the fish. Sturgeon, salmon, sea lions, everything gets into it, drag it down the river.
The Coast Guard says it hasn't had any reports of impact to wildlife.
At tomorrow night's State of the Union address, 5 Oregon Dreamers will be guests of Oregon senators and representatives to hear the speech. Those Dreamers were illegally brought into the U.S. as children and have been living here since. It's designed to send a message to politicians that a decision needs to be made regarding a path to citizenship or a continuation of the DACA program that gives them work permits and status so they won't be deported. We talked with students at the Rock Creek campus of Portland Community College, where a new Dreamers Resource Center opened last week. They're hoping to get a compromise from the president.
Well, it would give me a path to citizenship, but it would also give me a sense of kind of calm, because it's scary going out and not knowing if I will come back or if I'm going to be stopped and be deported. Just being stable, being able to feel stable in a place that is my home. I've been living here for 17 years.
You can watch the State of the Union address tomorrow night at 6 o'clock right here on KGW.
Next on the night team, helping a wandering sea lion back to the ocean.
And don't let thieves ruin a local boxing team's trip to the championship. How you can help replace what was stolen.
And I'm Matt Safino. The steady rain has turned to showers. We'll get some sun breaks, and it would be great to get some breaks in the clouds tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, because we have the super blue blood moon lunar eclipse. I'll explain.